Okay, today we're going to learn how to round decimals. So at the top of the page you need to write rounding decimals. Okay, once you've done that, remember you can always pause or rewind if I'm going too fast for you. So I'm sure some of your other teachers have shown you it's kind of like a math mountain where 5 is over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so if it's from here to here, it stays the same. If it's here to here, it rounds up. So, that's kind of a little clue to help us. So if I have here, the problem say 12.4, and it says round to the nearest whole number. I'm going to circle my whole number because I'm circling the number that I'm rounding to, and I'm going to underline my 4. So then what I'm doing is I'm going to put a 0 here because now it looks like $12.40. So I'm going to draw a line here, and I know that because I'm going to the nearest whole number, I'm either going to stay the same, so I'm going to put 12 here, or if I'm going to round up, then the next number after 12 would be 13. So I have 12 down here for if I stay the same, and I have 13 at the end for rounding up. Now, because tenths is given to me, I'm going to count by tenths. And that seems pretty hard, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to count like dimes. $12.10, $12.20, or 12 and 2 tenths, 12 and 3 tenths, 12 and 4 tenths, 12 and 5 tenths, 12 and 6 tenths. And the reason I'm going up and down is just so I have a little bit more space and it's easier to read. 12 and 7 tenths, 12 and 8 tenths, 12 and 9 tenths. I am now going to put an X on my number. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. I am not 4 numbers away, I'm 4 tenths away from 12. And I'm going to count how far away I am from 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 6 tenths away from 13. So that means my number, I'm going to go with the smaller number. That means if I rounded this to the nearest whole, my answer would be 12. Because 12 is only 4 tenths, or 12 and 4 tenths is only 4 tenths away from 12 and 6 tenths away from 13. So it's closer to 12, so that's what I'm going to round to. Remember, I circle my whole number, or circle the number I'm rounding to, and I underline the number to the right. So here, we'll practice another one. We'll say 0.87. And we want to round to the nearest tenth. Round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to circle my tenth, and I'm going to underline my number to the right. So the number I underline is how I'm going to be counting. Now that is a 7. I'm not going to be counting by sevens. The value of that 7 is in the hundredths. So that means I'm going to be counting by hundredths. I'm going to have 0.8 here and 0.9 here. So what I'm doing now is, remember, I'm putting, if it stays the same, down here, and if I'm rounding up, it goes down here. Now, the numbers that go in between, if you want to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I did is I put a line in the middle, because that's going to represent my 5. Okay, and then I put 4 in between these two. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 4 in between these two. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the teacher's secret way of making sure it's kind of even and it's not all scrunched up together like I accidentally did above here. So the number, if it stays the same, is down here, and if it rounds up, it stays here. I'm going to count by the place value that's underlined, and the place value that's underlined is hundredths. So I'm going to count like I'm counting with pennies. So if we want to put a 0 here, this is going to be 0.81, 82 hundredths, 83 hundredths, 84 hundredths, 85 hundredths, 86 hundredths, 87 hundredths, 88 hundredths, 89 hundredths, and then here's 90 hundredths. So I'm going to put an X where my number is, and I'm going to count how far away it is from there, and then from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am 7 hundredths away from 8 tenths, and I am 1, 2, 3 hundredths away from 9 tenths. So that means I'm going to round up to 9 tenths because that is closer. Okay, so this is a method you can use. I'm sure you've been taught many methods. You've been taught the roller coaster method, the mountain method. You circle something, you underline something. Remember, you're circling the number you're rounding to. You're underlining the number to the right. The number that you underline is the one that we use to determine if we round up or stay the same. Come to class with more questions tomorrow. You can use this method for anything that you're rounding to. The part that's hard is just to make sure you're counting correctly on your number line. Remember, the number you underline, that place value, is how you count. Here we underline the tenths, so we count by tenths. And we can think of dimes. When we count by hundredths, we can think of pennies. Okay? So come tomorrow to class with any questions you may have.